Then there's a new Jesus episode
Yeah, New Jesus.
where your homie Sleepy.
Sleep. I didn't know I thought for some reason we was interviewing tomorrow, but the next time I come up, Sleep will be with me. I'm gonna have
Okay.
Sleep do a Vlad interview with me.
Okay. And I don't know if it was that episode or another episode, but I remember you were asking people what color Jesus was. And
someone said transparent.
Transparent.
Yeah.
I have yet to meet a transparent human being. But apparently this guy feels that Jesus is transparent.
That's when you understand the power of Western civilization. The power of Western civilization has made the image of white Christ so powerful that you're afraid to even assert that Christ could look possibly like you. And that guy ended up being a great guy. He's a nice guy. He rides horses. He brought horses out to New Africa for people to ride. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the greater exposed people, in terms of living outside of his box, or the box that people, you see a black guy listen to rap music, like cars with big tires, and watches Vlad TV.
Yeah, he was a cowboy.
Yeah, exactly. He was a real cowboy.
Yeah.
But with that said, as out of the box he's unafraid to be in terms of being a cowboy, he's very much still in the black Christian box of either I'm going to accept Jesus as white or deny Jesus is anything that identifies with me from a physical standpoint, because I'm too afraid to.
I've always had a problem with the white Jesus. I mean, once I kind of learned a few things over the years, is like there's just no white people in that area. I've been to Jerusalem and Israel and Egypt, like all these places. There are no white people. It's too hot for white people to even live there. Like especially during that time. Like,
doesn't matter if it's a propaganda campaign, though. It's not what matters. What matters is if the propaganda is effective, and what propaganda does is it does the work for you. So people think when people say white privilege, it works like you're privileged, you're white, you get to break all these rules, and you know that. No, white privilege works because it gives the assumption of innocence and the presumption of guilt. It's the presumption of innocence and all that's right and righteous is already given to you. And the presumption of guilt, or having to prove somehow you're worthy, is given to other people. And that's an amazing gift to get. And I know that because I grew up in Atlanta. So I grew up under a black mayor, black police chief, black school teachers, schools named for black. I grew up on the flip side of very white Anglo-Saxon Protestant life. To the black skew, that's how I grew up. That's how I understood some black politicians ain't shit. That's how I understood some black police chiefs ain't shit. That's how I understood all these is equal, because it's more about power than even race, because I got a chance to live totally within a black world.
Well, you said you were raised by your grandparents.
Yes, I was.
Were your grandparents Christian?
My grandmother was Christian. My grandfather, he believed in God.
Okay. Did your grandmother have a picture of white Jesus in her house?
Of course. Of course, you couldn't take it down. Oh man, I remember my mom gave her a black Jesus picture. She put it behind the hallway door. Oh man, my mom was so fucking mad. But even now, my grandmother's Bible, because older black people, your births and deaths were recorded in the Bible, because oftentimes counties and municipalities wouldn't keep your records, right? So they were kept in these Bibles. So I have my grandmother's. I have a shrine for my grandmother and my mother up, and her Bible is there. And part of the reason I love art and Renaissance art was the pictures in that Bible. Of course, were painted during that time. So even the propaganda within those pages, when you get the illustrated Bible, of course. And so I understood as I got older, I started questioning. Like, when I knew Egypt was in Africa. The minute I understood Egypt, because you go to old books and they put Egypt as though it was another country. Then they show you as a bigger part. Egypt's in Africa. As soon as I learned that, my question became like, if Jesus could hide down there, or he and his mom could run down, or his lineage comes out of Ethiopia, why does he look like our insurance guy? And then my grandma would tell me, shut up. Pay attention to church.
Well, the next episode, Outside the Box.
Yeah.
You put together a super group.
Yeah.
Of various characters.
Yep.
There was a gay guy.
Yep.
There was an albino black guy.
Who is the head of Black Lives Matter Greater Atlanta.
Yep. There was
black cowboy.
There was a Jewish Renaissance woman.
There was a Jewish absolutely.
And then there was a white supremacist.
I would not call him a white supremacist. I would call him a nationalist.
White nationalist.
I would call him.
So you guys are putting together this song, and then he gets in the booth.
Yeah.
And calls himself a white N-word.
He says nigger. He says white nigger. Yeah, guys, if it's okay to say on Good Times and the Jeffersons, you can still say it, in intellectual discourse. I'm not saying call me nigga because I'll fight the shit out of you, Vlad. But
I don't use
we
the word at all.
we got to stop hiding from right. The word is nigger, right? The word stems from the Latin word for black. The word was used to describe people who were used as chattel. They were called niggers. They were called that simply because they were black, and there are people who were concerned with using them as property, did not care to split them up according to tribe, did not choose to recognize their humanity, not so much as to discern who was a traditional spiritualist, who was a Christian, and who was Muslim. So everybody just became a nigger. Right? He said that in at the end of the song, and the fucking world went crazy. I didn't know he was gonna make it out of there alive. But
no, I remember the engineer was just like had his head,
yeah,
his hands like,
just like,
God damn, what the hell am I here for?
Because you can sense it coming, just like, oh shit,
Wait,
but,
and actually, I mean, there was a lot of black people in that group that all kind of tolerated it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that shows you the power of human beings when they're stripped down to deal with each other one-on-one. Because I think he learned and grew from that experience. You know what I mean? But it gotta be hard to be a heterosexual working class white man these days. I ain't saying give sympathy to the devil just much as, man, you catching a lot of shit that might not even be your fault. You know what I mean? So that, you probably chose the wrong lyric, but my thing is, I understand where the pushback is coming from. I understand what would prompt him to say that dumb shit.
Really?
Right? Yeah, I do.
What's
because
that?
The feeling that somehow I'm oppressed too, the feeling somehow that I can't assert my masculinity, the feeling that everywhere I turn around, I'm someone's bad guy, but I'm not really. At the time that Martin Luther King was trying to assert greater workers' rights for workers in Mississippi and Memphis and shit like that, the greatest objector to that was white working class men in Mississippi. Guess who the most poorly paid working class white men in the country were at that time? White working class men in Mississippi. So everyone gets in their fucking feelings and feels like they're the biggest victim on earth. And a lot of white, working class men feel like that right now. I'm not saying it's right or accurate. I'm just saying the feeling is there. And that's why that leads you to say that dumb shit.
Yeah, I mean, I had Deal Hughley on my show.
Yeah.
He's a regular guest as well. And he said,
and to me, it's a bunch of angry white people. If you're broke and white in America, you have wasted your whiteness. You should put it on eBay and sell it to some niggas who can use it. How did you blow a 400-year head start? That's the fuck I don't understand.
If you're a hillbilly in Alabama, man, you can come out of there, get your teeth fixed, get a proper haircut, go to New York, get an internship, and become somebody.
And I was talking to a friend of mine, a black female, about this the other day. And we were talking about the N-word. And, the thing about that word,
nigger.
And you mentioned like, oh, well, Vlad, if you say it, I'm going to fight you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I said if you say it to me.
To you, yeah. Like, you're ready to fight somebody. There's really no equivalent of something that you could say to a white person that'll cause that level of anger.
People can say, he said hunky, he said cracker. That's none of that means shit. Hunky just means you would pull up to the prostitute district and honk your horn. So they start describing you as a honker or a hunky. Cracker just means you were a whip crack. No, there is no word because there has been no time where we enslaved the white race and subjugated them to Blanco. We haven't done that. So
no, I just think that in 2019, it's such a fucking shame that, people have so much control that they could elicit that type of reaction out of a black person by just uttering a word.
Well, it's not control. It's a challenge. It's a challenge when you say it. Like when you're saying
it. I'm saying like I could make, me as a white person, I can make a black person feel really angry by just uttering a word.
Nah, I wouldn't be angry. I just fuck you up. That ain't based out of anger. Nah, I'm not angry. Yeah, I know your dumb ass to say some shit like that. Not saying you, I see it coming. It's just a price to pay. Like that's all. It ain't because you didn't pay no tithes to get it. That's all. Like,
what
I'm gonna give you the perfect example. Okay. If you're a poor white boy in North Florida and you didn't grow up amongst black people, you didn't really endure this shit. Your peer group may tolerate something out of you that others would not, simply because they've seen the poverty you've endured. They've seen you arm in arm with them in this shit. And I'm not saying you have the right to somehow say nigga, but ain't nobody gonna misunderstand why you playing plies and rapping every verse. They're not gonna trip on you. You get what I'm saying? But if you pop your ass up out of Dunwoody High and you just come and, you come to the show, you look at 21 Savage show, you go crazy, it's lit, you have a good time. Then you go to the Zestos after the show, and you think you just gonna say my nigga in the middle of more than have a little 5 point. If you get punched in the fucking face by a 17-year-old, then that's come with it. It just comes with it, because you smart enough to know when you can and can't and should and shouldn't. And as a black person, no, I don't listen. I ain't got to me, because I figure if you say it behind closed doors in front, I figure it gets said. But my thing is, if you're looking for it, you can get it. Like, it's something that comes with that. Like the guy who just pulled a gun out on those little boys
I think in
and
Florida.
calls them a nigga. Like, my thing is, do you do that if you don't have that gun in your hand? No.
Yeah.
Do you call those little, but nah, because they'll whoop your ass, because they in shape. They ride their bike doing wheelies every day.
Right.
You run around this motherfucker sucking your stomach in trying to look tough. You know what I mean? Like, nah, you're not going to do it. So my shit is, the word doesn't have that control over me, but it doesn't have that control over me because I know who I am.
But it'll still cause you to fight somebody.
Nah, it won't cause me, because I don't have to pick every fight. I'm just saying, you know better. So if you do it, I at least gotta punch you. You know what I mean? I gotta give you an eye poke or something. You can't, you know what I mean? If you know better. But if you from Cabbagetown in Atlanta, you don't went to South, you don't went to Fulton, South Fulton, you didn't do it all this same shit my whole life. If you fuck around and say, man, shit, my nigga, then you might get a pass. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying amongst your peer group, you might get a pass because you didn't live, you didn't been through in the mud with them. You know?
I just feel like I said, in 2019, the fact that a word could trigger that type of emotional response from a group of people, I think is fucked up.
Yeah. Well, the word comes with power attached to it too.
Yeah.
Usually the person who's saying that word is asserting a power.
Yeah.
The question is, do you succumb to the power? Or do you push back?
Yeah.
And it's not just a word. There's a set of conditions that come with that word. There's Jeff Sessions, as former Attorney General, when he says that law enforcement is a part of white Anglo-Saxon Protestant history, then that definitely puts you on the other side of them. You know what I mean? So, you can say it's a shame in 2019. To me, it's just my reality. That word is not going to die. The word nigga was here before I was born. It's been here in my lifetime. It'll be here after I'm gone. I think as African Americans, once you understand where the word really comes from, to me, it just takes some of the out of it. It literally was just a Latin word for black. It was used in a horrible, evil way. And now we know why. Because it described a group of people that were beautifully rich and culturally different. It lumped them into one big homogenous group that you could enslave, and you threw us over here in Western society, and here we are.